Hello everybody, today I'm going to be going through taking you how to use your easy interactive pens that go with your Epson projectors in your classrooms. Some important things to note. One is that they do require batteries and they do have to be turned on. On is the dash, off is the circle. When you turn it on, you should see a green light blink, and then once it stops blinking, you know that it's synced. So you have an interactive whiteboard. You have to have this option selected right here. It looks like an old school whiteboard, like one of the rolly ones that some of us still use. That will give us the whiteboard where I can write and do anything I please. There are some options for your pen. One, you have different colors of pen and different thicknesses. So I can have a black color, I could have a red color, I could have a blue color, and they do all overlap. Also, with this icon here, there is more options for colors. As you see here, a variety of options. You could have light blue, which is really hard to see on the white. You could have green. If I have it selected, you can have green. There are lots of different color options, especially for you folks who like to color code information for your kids. You can also change the thickness, so you can draw different thicknesses, change whatever you need to do. So those are some options for your pens. This is the quick key. It'll tell you whether it's a large with thickness or a small thickness. You also have an eraser, either a small eraser or a large eraser. You can either erase one thing at a time, kind of like an eraser on the back of your pencil would, or you can erase the whole board at once by clicking this option. Now, if you erase something or do something that you don't intend, there's an undo button, just like on your computers. Up here is an undo button, so I press undo and everything I had comes back. I can also redo to redo the action I just did. So those are the pen options. There's also a highlighter. So if I want to highlight something, say I say x equals 2 and it's really important, I can highlight it for us to go back to later. So I can highlight yellow. There's also a purple highlighter option here. So there's lots of options for your highlighter as well. You could do thickness, thinness, whatever you need it to be to get your point across. And I can erase the board using that same button. Now the background screen can also change. You don't have to have just a white screen. You could have multiple options. You could change the screen to black and then write on the black screen with whatever colors. That's where this pen has lots of fun options. That's where this blue now is very vibrant. A lot of times I would like to put the warm-up on the board, and I'll write like with the black screen. So I'll write the warm-up in white, and then I'll write the answer in black, and then I'll switch the color of the screen back to white. And then all the answers will show so the students can grade themselves. The button here that I keep pressing, it looks like a little digital readout screen. You'll see a little line graph on it with an arrow. This is what lets us change. You can change to line, so you can have students come up and practice writing their letters. Or you could write sentences in nice neat rows. You could do lined black as well, so the inverse of that option. There's also grid paper for all of us math science types that we can use to chart information or draw more accurate representations of whatever we're trying to do. So these are all of our whiteboard options. But the cool thing about our whiteboards is that it doesn't have to work just with a whiteboard. We also use these to project things from our computer. So to do that, you have to pull up your menu, and again, use this little arrow to pull up your menu if it's not already there. And you click this button. You'll see it looks like a mouse pointer on the screen. That tells me that's going to switch to my computer input, however I have my computer set up. Now, if IT set them up and you have the projectors mounted, you should have an HDMI hookup underneath your desk in a black box with an HDMI cord coming out that you can plug and play into your computer. So let's switch to this computer interface, and right now I see the blue screen. Whenever I want to sync my computer to my projector, I have to make sure first that the projector and the computer are both fully on. So I don't want to plug in my projector HDMI cord to my computer until I am 100% sure that this blue screen is up and it is on. Otherwise there can be syncing issues and it causes things like video won't play or sound won't come through. There's a lot of different options there. So to get it to sync, I come over to my computer and I use the HDMI cable given, and I plug it into my computer. Okay. So this will allow the computer to sync. Now right now, I have my background set to be extended mode. So you can actually view different presentation modes with your computer. So if I press the Windows button, the projector, so it's as if it's not plugged in at all, although my HDMI cable is still plugged in. If I select duplicate, this means that the students are seeing the exact same thing on their screen that I am seeing on my screen. So some positives here, it's really great for video and for when you're trying to navigate things like Kahoot or any other tools you may be using. Where it's bad is when you have grades or something else sensitive you're working on and you accidentally duplicate and show it to the classroom. So we have to be careful about what we're duplicating and when. If I select extend, that gives me two separate screens. So my computer acts as one monitor and the projector acts as a second separate monitor. So you see separate things and I can drag between them. So I can select files and drag them over and they show up here. So I can operate things on the board that are different than what I'm doing here. The last option is to be the projector only. This turns my computer off as a monitor function and makes only the projector show. So I now have to navigate everything from my computer through the projector. So those are your options. I'm going to leave it in duplicate for now. So your whiteboard pen also interfaces with the computer. For example, if I wanted to be able to take notes with my students, show them how to do something, I could say inertia is resistance to motion. Sorry, I picked up the wrong one. Inertia is resistance, the resistance to changes in motion. So I can write notes for them here, okay? What if I wrote something, like I want to talk about inertia and force, and I'm writing an equation, or I write a piece of information a student doesn't understand, and they say, Miss Longley, I don't understand what you're talking about when you say force, mass, acceleration. I don't remember any of that. Now there isn't really space on what I'm doing in the current notes that I already have. Maybe I already have notes all over the screen, and I don't want to get rid of them. So I already have notes all over the screen, I don't want to get rid of them. So I can switch to my whiteboard at any time. And I can remind them how that equation works, what each component is, all that stuff, and I can talk about that here. When I go back to my computer, all the stuff I already had was still there. So I don't have to lose my place to be able to activate prior knowledge and go build information on my whiteboard and then come back to the problem I have up here. This is also where your highlighter becomes really useful. I can say highlight important information. So I can say it's dependent solely upon. So I can say, look, that's very important. I need you to remember that solely upon means this is the only thing that matters. So I can highlight important information here too. And all of the writing functions also apply to the computer screen. One of the main problems with the projectors that I fix on my campus is when the sound won't go through the projector. The sound seems to disappear. There's a very important setting that you need to make sure you have in the sound panel. So I'm going to take you through how to do it if you watch on the screen. When I go in the bottom right tray, I see my little speaker. Okay, I should see my little projector here as display audio. If I'm not sure what I should be using, okay, I can go to the mixer, and this will tell me that Epson is the one playing sound, okay? If that doesn't fix it, you can go to Control Panel, you can go to Hardware and Sound, and you can go to Manage Audio Devices. This will take me to this screen where I can select the Epson projector as default, which will allow me to fix that issue. So again, the sequence of clicks to get to the sound issue, so that way sound will play through your computer. is you go to Start, you click Control Panel, so that takes us to our settings. From here, you click the green words, Hardware and Sound. That'll take us to where we can select our sound settings for Manage Audio Devices, because we want to manage where the sound is mapping to. And then we can select our projector as our main source of sound. So now sound will actually come out of the Epson projector instead of my computer or not coming out at all.